Within just a few weeks of the United States declaration of war on Spain, I had resigned my position as Assistant Secretary of the Navy in order to fulfill my dream to fight in combat. I joined the 1st Regiment of the U.S. Cavalry Volunteers, headed by my friend Colonel Leonard Wood. I was given the designation of Colonel and placed second in command under Colonel Wood. Together, we hand-selected the men for our unit. Having put considerable thought into this matter for years prior, I persuaded Wood to bring on the best cowboys, Indians, and college athletes to fight under us. I wanted to have very able horsemen who had herded cattle or hunted big game, and the able-bodied sportsmen were also some of the most knowledgeable men in the country. They were a splendid set of men. Their physical abilities alone were in stark contrast to most of the other volunteer contingents, and we soon became known as the Rough Riders. After several disappointing setbacks, I was able to commandeer a ship, and we finally departed for Cuba from Tampa, Florida in mid-June without our horses. We landed at Daiquiri and made our way towards the port of Santiago. Soon after our first engagement in the Battle of Las Guasimas, I was pleased to be notified that Colonel Wood was reassigned, leaving me in charge of the 1st. Our next orders were to take the high ground near Santiago, known as San Juan Heights. From there, heavy artillery would have commanding coverage of the port of Santiago. On the morning of July 1st, 1898, we were camped near the base of San Juan Heights. As the sun rose, our encampment was fired upon by the Spanish troops above. Bullets drove down in sheets through the trees and tall jungle grass. After the initial shock of the onslaught, I mounted my horse, one of the few we had, and ordered my men to follow me. Under the heavy fire, they were reluctant, but I was quick to remind them that I was high upon a horse, while they had the relative protection of being low to the ground. Bully! I charged up that hill, revolver in hand. I took aim at a Spanish soldier and fired. He dropped dead that instant. As I crested the hill, I was able to view the enemy making haste down the other side and retreat. I soon realized that my troops had not heard my orders to charge, and that I was riding back and forth across the summit by myself. They soon joined me, though, and we, having secured Kettle Hill, charged up and took San Juan Hill as well. I tell you, with the harbor controlled by our guns, our Navy had little problem defeating the Spaniards' gunboats there, and the Spanish had no recourse but to surrender soon after. I can tell you that my desire to get my men out of Cuba as quickly as possible cost me the Medal of Honor. Many have won the honor for much less than I demonstrated, and with less balancing on a victory. However, yellow fever was of a great concern, and I wanted my men back in the States. I implored my superiors to give the orders to send us home, but when they did not, I wrote General Shafter expressing my concerns and implying that those in charge of the military would be to blame for unnecessary lives lost. Unfortunately, President McKinley was made privy to my words, and I will never receive the recognition I deserve for my heroic efforts.